You're playing a game of Russian roulette as to whether you're going to get a good police officer or not. Had things have changed, Mum could quite possibly be here today.
He has smashed stuff in the house before. He's put holes in the wall.
Almost 18 months after Doreen Langham was murdered by her estranged partner, Queensland Police is facing tough questions over its flawed response to her repeated pleas for help.
How far he would go, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, I felt physically ill.
The Queensland Police response to domestic family violence victims and survivors falls far short of minimal community expectations and standards.
I think Doreen's inquest clearly showed there were different points of failure from the time of contacting police right through to how that was assessed.
It's not the only case where Queensland's police response has been under scrutiny. Early in 2020, the nation was shocked by the horrifying murder of Hannah Clark and her young children. Now a Royal Commission-style inquiry is scrutinising how Queensland Police respond to cases of domestic and family violence and if urgent changes are needed.
It's more than urgent. It's been urgent for decades. Officers are either ill-equipped, ill-prepared or not trained.
Why is it that you can have experienced officers who've been very successful in this field for a while, then making such failures? Culture or attitude, demand and potential desensitisation of our officers, that is something we're examining.
A coronial inquest has just finished examining the events leading up to the murders of Hannah Clark and her young family by estranged husband Rowan Baxter. The deputy coroner found that Baxter was a violent and controlling master of manipulation, and while it was unlikely police could have prevented the murders, state authorities failed to adequately assess the risk to Hannah's children.
Children are at risk as well. Quite often now they seem to focus on the partner, not the children.
It was also revealed police missed vital opportunities to hold Baxter accountable. He was not charged or put on bail for a domestic violence order breach and assault 3 weeks before the murders.
So yeah, free to leave now. I'll show you out and you can go about the rest of your day.
They should definitely have breached him when he assaulted Hannah Clark, and they should have opposed bail and taken him into custody.
The challenge is always recognising those opportunities at the time, not knowing that they're going to, conclude by it's such a tragic, and as the coroner described, a manipulative person who was out to cause havoc.
In the case of Doreen Langham, she told police before she was killed that her ex-partner Gary Healy was threatening suicide, sending her up to 30 harassing texts a day, and had made a death threat against her.
They advised me not to go back to my house. This is my girlfriend's place.
They just were dismissive of her complaints. They didn't listen. They just assumed that because she wasn't battered and bruised and could have a laugh about something, that she wasn't fearful for her life.
Kerry Carrington is an expert who provided crucial evidence at Doreen Langham's inquest. She argues that case highlights even more severe police shortcomings.
Okay, so the coroner gave me access to the entirety of the coronial file, and what I discovered was that Doreen Langham, in the 2-week period before her death on the 21st, she had interactions with 16 different police officers from 3 different police stations.
Doreen told police her ex-partner had an extensive domestic violence and criminal history, including stalking. But police didn't check a database and incorrectly explained they needed to prove domestic violence allegations beyond a reasonable doubt. That forced her to go to court and get a private domestic violence order.
the police initially refused to take out a domestic family violence order. They inappropriately applied the law. They inappropriately misunderstood their role under the Domestic Family Violence Act.
It is wrong. It's highlighted to us a range of issues about having to improve our training and our understanding of our officers.
Gary Healy lied to police about never hitting or threatening Doreen.
Never made any violence. She's never had to fear for her safety.
Healy was sneaking into Doreen's gated community, watching her for hours, leaving an item on her car and breaking into her unit. Doreen reported these breaches, but one police officer told her she was doing so too often. The deputy coroner found no officer made any real attempt to locate Healy so he could be charged.
Police arrest people all the time who live in cars who have no fixed place of abode. They had his registration number. They could have easily have gone to his place of work and served him with a breach.
There's a DVO out of my ex and he's out the front of my house right now.
After seeing him outside at night, Doreen called 000, desperate for police assistance.
He's out here tonight and I just saw his shadow at my front door.
Yep.
Oh, God.
When police finally knocked on her door about 4 hours later, they couldn't find Doreen Langham or Gary Healy and left. Healy then killed Doreen Langham, set the house on fire and later died in the blaze. The deputy coroner concluded it is possible their deaths could have been prevented if police had dealt with each complaint properly.
As a family, we believe that that's true, and as a family, it's really hard to hear.
Queensland Police concede there were alarming systemic failures before Doreen Langham's death. Inadequate training has now been overhauled, which includes a new 3-day face-to-face course all officers will complete by July next year.
I think what many of our officers now are looking forward to is face-to-face engagement around issues about understanding coercive control, victim-centric and trauma-informed practice.
Doreen Langham lived in Logan, where police spend over 50% of their time on domestic violence. Both inquests have recommended a trial of a victim-centred police station in the area, which would feature specialist police alongside legal advisors and domestic violence and social workers.
They encourage women to come early. They disrupt the cycle of domestic violence. They disrupt the perpetrator's plans to kill. They support both her through that process, but they also support the men with perpetrator programs.
Integrated service delivery and partnerships with other agencies and NGOs at a more convivial space for vulnerable victims to come to is very much in the planning stages, and part of it's already in place in Logan.
Doreen Langham's family hope their tragedy will lead to better support and protection for women at risk.
She would never have chosen this legacy, but she would be very proud to know that her legacy is helping others.